welcome. Here we are, episode number 2, Whiskidiots. I'm Joe, and I'm joined by my good friend Rich here.
Hi, I'm Rich, and we made it to number 2.
We made it to number 2. Very exciting times. Here we are in our amazing podcast that we've put together here, and I think things are going good so far. We had a great time with bourbon last time, and we're going to try something new.
We are. I've been looking forward to this one, as I do every week.
Me too, me too. So it's been a good week. We're here, broadcasting from Los Angeles and Hollywood in the heart of the entertainment capital. The streets have been quite empty. I was out and about today, driving around. It's been great.
Eerily strange out there. It's so quiet. It's like everybody left town. It's great.
It's pretty good. It's been good. It's been like a 3-month. LA's been on its own vacation from the people,
from the people who are vacating.
Who are vacating. So it's been interesting. So I've been home. I've been experimenting with some whiskeys at home. I've been trying some new stuff, kind of preparing, researching, doing what we do here. And
I've been mixing. Making little cocktails.
You mix all the time. That's why we can't find you at the end of the night usually. But
I've been mixing cocktails with whiskey. So we're going to have further episodes doing that, I think.
I think so. I think that'll come in the future, bringing somebody in who's an expert mixologist and teaching us a bit. I've been doing my own research. I've been making a mean old-fashioned. I've been, getting really good at that, and every night experimenting with different bourbons.
I did try your old-fashioned recipe the other day. And
quite good.
It was pretty good. Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah,
I made Mai Tais. I made Mai Tais with dinner last night. I went rum for a minute. I made a pretty mean, nice tropical. I like tropical cocktails.
I've got a good tropical cocktail for you with whiskey, which I did a little research on this morning. So
I would be very interested in that.
We'll get around to it. Anyway, let's any further ado.
Yeah, let's introduce our bottle because this is I think for number 2 episode, we're going to get pretty deep in some really cool stuff. We're going to go off the beaten path as well from what normally you might expect from a whiskey type thing. And we have a very special thematic element, I think, going tonight. And I want to get into it. So let's reveal the bottle of the day there, Rich. Right. Bottle of the day. There she is in all her glory. So this
looking very fine.
This is Jane Walker. So for all of you, obviously everybody's very familiar with Johnnie Walker, and it's a scotch, a blended scotch, and we're going to talk about Jane Walker today. But before we get into the Jane Walker thing, because there's a lot of really cool stuff happening with this, let's talk about scotch a little bit, because I mentioned last time that I'd never been to Kentucky, and we were starting off the bat with bourbon, and now we're going to talk about some scotch, and I've never been to Scotland. So
I have been to Scotland.
You have been to Scotland.
I have, and it is a beautiful, yet sometimes miserable place.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm sure it's lovely.
It rains a lot.
Only thing I know about Scotland is a Loch Ness monster and Braveheart. That's about it.
That's all you really need to know.
We should have worn maybe some Braveheart-inspired makeup or clothing to do this episode, but that's okay.
I don't think we should have done
that. That's all right.
No, because there'll be a lot of Scotch in this series of Whiskidiots.
Well, let's give a little history to everybody. We started this whole idea was because we were avid Scotch drinkers. We drink a lot of Scotch, and we've tried a lot of different Scotches from all the different areas of Scotland. So I want to get into this real quick. We're doing a blend today, what they call a blend.
Right. Well, you talk about that. I'm going to open it.
Open it up. Let's take a look at it.
This might take a while.
We got a lovely box here. So I want to actually bring up the box. Usually everybody's used to the traditional Johnnie Walker logo, the character of the guy in his tails and top hat and cane walking. And that was actually created in the early 1900s by a cartoonist. It doesn't resemble anybody real or anything, and they've used that logo. It's been updated 3 or 4 times. Now they've come out 2 years ago, 2018. They came out with this Jane Walker bottle, which essentially was to add a female-inspired element, and they called it Jane Walker. Now, this is what I want to bring up. Very, very important. So let's talk about Johnnie Walker real quick. Out of Scotland, they're a blend.
They have quite an extensive line.
They do.
Now, and this is what they call an expression.
An expression. Tell us, Rich, what an expression is.
An expression, well, what we would normally call a different flavour.
A different flavor.
That's basically what it is.
It's true, yeah. Do they use that in wine too, expressions? Do they? I thought I knew about wine, but it turns out I don't know anything about wine either.
They probably use expression for everything.
We started this podcast. I was like, well, we know enough about wine. We know enough about whiskey. Let's do we turns out we know nothing. We know very little.
We drink a lot.
And we're just in our period of self-discovery here. But here's what I want to talk about Johnnie Walker real quick. It's a blend. So to get a little educational here for everybody, there's single malt whiskeys, and there's also the grain
The,
whiskeys.
the white spirit
right.
that you get from
So,
distilling.
Single grain, a single malt has gotten very, very popular over the years, which means it's just one distilled scotch, let's say,
I'm gonna stop
and
pouring.
it's made from one single malt. What Johnnie Walker did ever since the beginning was take different single malts, mix them together like in a lab, in a recipe, make a recipe until they got the proper taste that they wanted. And that's what they got. Yeah, we should just try it. Let's try it real quick. So this is the Jane Walker, and I want to bring up why this is called Jane Walker and what's really cool about Johnnie Walker. So Johnnie Walker currently, to this day on hand, have 12 master blenders. They have a group of 12 people that work for them. They actually work for the parent company, for Diageo. They work for Diageo. I think that's how you pronounce it, a British company. They don't only work at Johnnie Walker, by the way. They blend for other brands as well
that are
under the Diageo label.
Okay.
So, for example, Emma Walker, no relation, by the way, to the Walker family. Emma Walker, who blended this particular Jane Walker, actually works for Diageo and blends other brands as well. She's not only just in the Johnnie Walker thing. Now, 12 master blenders at Johnnie Walker, 6 of them are women. And that's something I really want to bring up because
that's the whole thing about this is it's to celebrate women in the industry of
spirits and whiskey.
Spirits. Yeah. So
and let me tell you about this company, Diageo. Okay, they're a British company. The president for the North American branch, the CFO for the whole company, and the chief marketing officer are all women. Okay, 50% of companies. 50% of the entire board of the company are all female.
Right.
Quite interesting. So I've always, he always has this image of whiskey being a stuffy old guy, cigar, beard,
it just
little
goes to
guy,
show
little glasses.
the women are just as much alcoholics as the men are. Let's be honest.
That's possible. I've experienced that in the past a bit. But it's cool to see that, for me, having that idea of whiskey being a man thing, a manly thing, is actually, and over the last 10 years, I see a lot more women involved in the whiskey world.
So this Jane Walker, this was originally done 2 years ago as a tribute, and it was actually just Johnnie Walker Black.
They didn't make any.
They
didn't make a new expression.
It.
They just took Johnnie Walker Black, slapped a new label on it with the new logo, and released it for a month. It was just a special edition box that you can buy, but it was still Johnnie Walker Black. Fast forward now, they've actually made a new expression, and it's got vanilla. I was going to say vanilla, peach.
Peach,
something a little more
fresh orchard fruit.
Yes, orchids. It's got perfume and orchids and
we haven't even started yet. And then hints of sweet cream and dark chocolate finish.
There you go. So they're trying to give it a little bit of a feminine touch, I'd say, with the peach and all that stuff. Those aren't things you find usually in masculine, like, let's say, colognes and things like that, or scents. I wear this manly body spray I bought from some beard online thing, and it's like made of like maple syrup and bacon and those kinds of things. So now that's in Scotch. You're gonna find those notes in Scotch.
Yeah, and
wood, leather, smoke.
If you look at our Instagram, there's a picture of a bottle of shampoo, which is bourbon flavored. So there you go,
bourbon shampoo.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's.
And if you run to a rut at 3 a.m, you can just drink your shampoo. If you need that little extra more to get you through the night.
So should we start with the tasting?
Let's start tasting. Let's look at the color. Right. We've talked about this before. When you do a tasting, there's color, there's clarity, there's the legs and those kinds of things. So color, I am looking at something a little lighter already right off the bat.
What, lighter than the bourbon?
Lighter color, yes. I see a lighter color.
Yeah, it is lighter.
And I see a lighter clarity. I mean, I can see right through it. I see a window. Right on through. I think it's lovely. It looks really nice so far.
It hasn't got the legs.
Very inviting. Well, you'd think for a woman it would have some legs.
Oh, come on.
This is terrible. Yeah, this is terrible. We'll edit that out. But I don't see many legs.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of legs, Rich, at all. Very little.
Very little. But okay, but then again,
scent.
It's not bourbon, so.
But Scotch should have. When you and I did a tasting for the green Johnnie Walker Green, there was a lot of legs. But so I want to also talk about all the different types of Johnnie Walker. Let's taste this though. Let's try it out. Oh, it's nice. It's nice. It smells great.
It's floral. Right?
I will say it does have a very heavy Scotch. What I'm used to in Scotches, like a Speyside or something like that. I'm definitely.
Yeah. So okay, let's test that.
Okay, let's try it out and see. Tastes like Johnnie Walker.
It tastes like a a milder Johnnie Walker?
I don't know if it's mild.
No, no, I get it. I feel it's a lot milder than.
I'm feeling Johnnie Walker Red. I'm getting very close to the Johnnie Walker Red.
I'm feeling a mild Johnnie Walker Black.
Isn't that called Johnnie Walker Red?
No, I think Johnnie Walker Red's got a little harsher taste than this, but milder than black.
Let's talk. I want to talk about all the different lines of Johnnie Walker. So,
hang on. Let's. Oh, you've already drunk yours.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't breathe for a second. It's nice. I'm liking it though. It's a nice sipping. I'm enjoying it neat. So we're drinking it neat. And once again, to reiterate for all you idiots out there like us, neat just means nothing. No ice, no water, and we're just drinking it straight. We put it in a shot glass, which is wrong way to do it, but we do it just because we can just take a good look at it. And
I don't think I could. I couldn't drink this neat all night. It's just.
I could not.
It's a little too much. But let's try with a little. Let's try a touch of ice.
Okay.
I think the ice.
Well, let's water, ice. Now here, while you do that, Rich, I want to talk about the different types. There's red label, black label, double black, green, gold, and aged 18. What's called an aged 18 Johnnie Walker. And then there's the blue and the Johnnie Walker Swing. Do you know why the Johnnie Walker Swing is called Johnnie Walker Swing? It's not the most expensive one. The blue is, but it comes in. So Johnnie Walker, they really took time to develop their bottle. They wanted a thin, square bottle so it could fit in your cabinet with more Johnnie Walker. The more you can fit in your cabinet, the better. I noticed how thin it is compared to like bourbon bottles. I mean, it's very thin. And that's how Johnnie Walker's design is for all their bottles. And the reason they did it back in like 1880 or whatever, when they did this,
scooch them all together
and put more in the liquor cabinet.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Then sell more. Sell more of their product. Now, the Swing, the Johnnie Walker Swing, has a curved bottom, and the bottle actually swings back and forth, so you can put it on a ship. When you're on the ship,
where do we get that? I've never seen that.
I've never seen it either.
That looks. That's
amazing.
I
discovered it today in my notes research. Whoa, Maron, I'm getting quite a. All right, that's got a kick. I'm gonna say the Johnnie Walker. She provides a punch. She provides a very strong kick. So
it's those boots she's wearing. I think
she's great. She's great.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. This definitely for me would be more of a tasting variety, or if you're gonna have a really, really, it would be one thing I would have it with several scotches to taste and try different scotches. You know. That's it.
Yeah.
I like the scent already better with the ice.
The ice has definitely opened it up. Yeah.
Much better. Much better. Now that I could sip all night.
Oh my god, yeah, that is it's almost a different drink.
Maybe we're just too weak to handle neat because everything we try neat.
I need more water in them. But no, that is delicious.
The ice is wonderful. Now the vanilla,
yes,
the vanilla and the peach, is out there.
The chocolate notes and the.
Now I'm like, this is fantastic. Delicious.
Okay.
So I'm going to give a little history of Johnnie Walker because it's very interesting. Why is it a blend?
Please do.
And why is it a blend? And why are there blended scotches? So Johnnie Walker himself started a supermarket in the 1820s, I believe, and with some family loaned money, and he started a supermarket. And back then there was a ban on blending.
This was in
Scotland. Yep, okay. In Scotland. There was a ban in Scotland. There was a ban that lasted until 1860. You could not blend single malt and what was the other one called?
And the grain.
And the grain. You could not blend them together. He figured out a way to do it, and his customers would, on the down low, his customers would come in and say, "Hey, can you blend?" He had a bunch of variety of scotches that he collected in the supermarket, and people would personally ask him to blend certain types together because they liked them, and he would sit there and blend them together, and then he died. He died. It didn't get the name Johnnie Walker or anything. It was called Highland something or other, and Old Highland whiskey.
Highland whiskey.
And then his son and grandson took over, and that's where they took the best of the blends that he made. They took their favorite ones and started bottling it as Johnnie Walker. And that's how it got born. And it was red, black, and white were the three labels. The white was aged 5 years. The black was aged 10. And the white was 5, the red was 10, and I believe the was 12 for the black. Okay. And that's how it's been. It's been like that for 100 plus years now.
If we got that wrong, please leave a comment below.
Yeah.
And
now here's an interesting example. The grain whiskeys and the single malts is what they've always used in their recipes until they did the green label in 1997. So the Johnnie Walker company got bought out by Guinness beer. Who then got bought out.
So 97 was the first
green. And it went out until 2012. It lasted 15 years, and they took it off
Yes,
the market.
that's right. Yes, I
and then it
remember
came
when
back
that-
again.
yeah.
Now it's back, and it's normal. But here's the thing. Johnnie Walker Green is the only one of all the Johnnie Walker lines that is blended strictly from single malt. No grain whiskey in it.
And we will get into single malts very soon.
Very, very soon. So far I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, with the ice, it's really opened it up. It's mellowed it out.
Yeah.
And
now-
do you want to try it with
I'm gonna try
a
it
bit
a
of
second.
soda or
Yes.
I think soda.
Let's do a little soda. Soda
Yeah.
with ice.
Soda and ice.
I know
think,
you were telling me today you made this amazing discovery that you found Johnnie Walker Black and soda, unbeknownst that you and I go everywhere at least 4 times a week. That I've been drinking that for years, unbeknownst to you that's what I've always been ordering.
I can't remember your name in the morning.
yeah.
Never mind what you were drinking that
Just
night.
just turn over and look who's laying next to you. But
Oh boy.
no, but I've been drinking that for years. That's been my go-to in bars. Has been Johnnie Walker Black and soda. It's been forever, and I love it. I love it. Now,
All right. Well, let's try Jane Walker
yeah.
with a now. Okay, I have a quick question. Do you think that they came out with this Jane Walker because of the Me Too movement? Do you think it's a kind of nod to women of like, hey,
Well, timing-wise, it works out.
It
right?
it does,
2018.
yeah.
Perhaps, and why not? Why not? I think it's again, this is a company that has an entire board of trustees and CEOs and everything who are women.
Right. Yeah.
And they're very proud of that, by the way. They've been recognized in Europe as a forward-thinking company because of that. And they have 6 of their 12 master blenders are female. I think it's terrific.
Yeah, it's
Cheers to
good.
them.
Yeah.
And let's. I want to segue to our guests coming up real quick, because we are celebrating women and all the great things that they do. We have a couple coming on as a guest, Paul Gargano and his wife, Rika O'Connor. And they're in the music business. Paul manages bands. He was the editor of a music magazine for many, many, many years. He knows everybody in the business. And then his wife, Rika O'Connor, is a booking agent and books a ton of bands. They sent us that list. I mean, everybody.
All my favorite bands from the 80s.
So they have a bottle of Jane Walker waiting with them, and they're going to enjoy it with us. And we're going to talk to them a little bit about the music business. And I really, really want to talk to Rika, especially because Paul does all the interviews. I want to get Rika on here, and I want her to talk a little bit too about female role in the music business, how it's increased. I mean, prior to 1980, it was all you always heard the record company man, and then you got Sharon Osbourne came out, and then strides have been made in the last 30, 40 years, and I want to talk to her about her experience in that.
Yeah, so I mean, she did say she wasn't a big fan of whiskey, but hopefully this might change her mind.
I think women are starting to get a little more curious. There's only so much they've been pushed. They've been pushed to cosmopolitans and all these things for so many years, and happy hours. And all these things.
You've got this
There's
whole
a curiosity.
skinny girl line of vodkas and if you're worried about your weight, which obviously we
we're
aren't,
not.
but if you are, there's virtually 0 calories in scotch and soda.
Okay, so that brings up a really good point, because I talk to many women all the time, and they're always like, vodka, vodka, vodka. Why do you drink vodka? They're like, well, I don't like dark liquor because it makes me really drunk, or I'm watching my weight. It must be full of sugar.
Exactly.
Now, with rum, sure, that makes sense. Sugar is made from sugar cane. There's no sugar in this.
No sugar at all.
No, it's distilled. It's gluten-free.
When you put ice and fizzy water in it, I mean, that's it.
It's distilled alcohol that's flavored in a barrel.
Right.
That's it. And it's put in a barrel, and it gets the wood and the taste of the barrel. Now, just so everybody knows, that's bourbon. Once the bourbon barrels are done finishing in the States, they send them all to Scotland, and all the Scotch makers use recycled bourbon barrels that have bourbon juices is living in the wood, and then they put their stuff in there, and that's how you get Scotch made.
That's how they age it. And then if they want to finish it, they'll finish it in like a sherry barrel.
Right. I've heard of wine even. Yeah. Red wine, white wine, Spanish sherry, and bourbon barrels. So
a port.
It's pretty cool. I might want to go to Scotland now.
Well, I think a trip to Scotland is on the cards.
And when we get into the single malt discussion on another time, I want to talk about the different areas, because there's North Scotland, Middle Scotland, and Southern Scotland, and each one has its own real unique tastes. For example, I like the smoky stuff, the Ardbegs and the Lagavulins and that.
But let's keep on track with the Jane Walker. So did you try it with the soda?
No.
Oh, God. Now this is a great drink. Hot summer day, you're outside.
Good for day drinking. Is it going to replace the rosé that I've been drinking all spring?
This has replaced my rosé drinking during the day.
So let me have a little more ice there, Richard.
I mean,
it's not some ice. I'm going to put a little more Jane in there.
It's not it's not quite a breakfast drink, but you know.
You can't put it on your cornflakes?
Maybe
that's more bourbon. Maybe bourbon.
In a pinch, you could probably do a little scotch and ice and
Let's try the
soda.
soda.
Yeah. Oh, I like a lot of soda in my scotch. I like to really water it down because then you just get a hint of the scotch and it's quite refreshing.
Like a mint julep, right?
Kind of like a mint julep.
Right? That's a refreshing.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
What's mint julep? Like, it's like an old fashioned with mint?
I
don't know.
Is
It's
it
whiskey.
gin?
It's bourbon. No, it's bourbon.
It's bourbon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A mint julep is bourbon.
No, I'm thinking of something else.
And they drink it at the horse races, right? In Kentucky and all that stuff.
In America, yes. Yeah, it's Pimm's in England. Which is
I like it with the soda. It's refreshing and stuff. I'd probably prefer it with just the ice.
Really?
Yeah. Now, if you're out at a bar and you're paying $12 for a round of this, you probably want to get some soda so it lasts a little longer. Because they're going to give you a 2-ounce pour no matter what.
Yeah, you're not going to find this at a bar because it is a.
I'm talking about Johnnie Walker in general.
Johnnie Walker in general, yes.
You know,
But,
you're not going to find this in a bar, and I'm curious how long it's going to last. Like, is this a month? You know, another special edition for the month? Is it forever? Is it on the line forever? I feel like this is a limited edition.
It's going to be limited edition.
It's got a collector's box look. You know, collector's look to the box and the label. And let's talk about Emma Walker. She has no relation, by the way, to the Johnnie Walker family. Her name just happens to be Emma Walker, and she's like the top blender over there. She was actually a chemist. She went to school for chemistry, and somehow the chemistry segued into. She started working for you know the company Diageo they make Smirnoff vodka, and a slew of other things. And she started out as a chemist, preparing all their different types of bottles that they make, and then she ended up over at Johnnie Walker and obviously doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. I mean,
she's like a legend in this business. Something else, Johnnie Walker. So you brought this up to me the other day, and I want to discuss it, Rich. Blended, let's say Scotch blends are much bigger sellers than single malt, popularity-wise, all over the world.
Yeah, so only 10% of Scotch around the world is single malt. The rest of it's all blended. So 90% of the stuff that you see, well, the stuff that people buy is blended. So,
it's blended.
Which is, for me, I found that really strange because I always thought that people were, if you're into Scotch, you're kind of into the single malts. That's where they
I don't think people are that into Scotch. They like drinking it, and all they know, again, my whole life growing up, was blends. That's all. I just thought Scotch was a blended thing. And it wasn't until I was much older, in my late 30s, when mixology, you know, this whole mixology thing happened, and Food Network, and all this stuff exploded. People started getting more into things. That's when I noticed. I first came across single malts. And it's like, whoa, here's a whole different. No idea what they were.
Yeah, you see, I was always brought up on single malts.
I think most people are like me.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, you know, coming from the north of England, and you know, we're not that far away from Scotland. We always had the single malts in the drinks cabinet, which you know really got my taste for it.
Just to give you an idea, and just so everybody else knows, Johnnie Walker is the most selling blended Scotch in the world. They're putting out 223 million bottles a year. 223 million bottles a year of blended Scotch goes out. So no wonder it's the most popular.
Yeah. One of the things I love about Johnnie Walker is they sponsor the Formula One Grand Prix, which I'm a big fan of. I think they sponsored McLaren at one point, and they have the logos of everything. And hopefully one day might get somebody from the motorsport world to be one of our guests.
Johnnie Walker's quite iconic, I'd say, in the Scotch world. If you ask anybody, who are they going to know? Lagavulin or Lafroig, or are they going to know Johnnie Walker? Of course, everybody's going to know Johnnie Walker. It's what we all stole out of our parents' liquor cabinets when we were a kid.
Absolutely. So I think we should we give it a overall? Oh, do we want to try? Do we want to try it with Coke?
No. Here's what I want to do. So
we're going to ask the guest.
When Johnnie Walker came out in 2018 for the first time, remember it was Black Label.
Oh, that's right. That's what you want to do. Yes,
it was Black Label relabeled.
Yes.
Now they're saying they've made a new expression. So what I like to do is I want to do. We have another bottle.
Oh, here we go. I
think we got blue one. No.
Stop. This one.
Yes. You've done a great job of labeling your sound effects there. We're off to a fantastic start. So I brought some Johnnie Walker Black Label, and I want to do a comparison now. Since it originally was Black Label, and they've made a new expression, I want a comparison of the two, a little AB.
Right. Are we going to do this with ice? Are we going to do this with ice and then soda?
I think neat.
Ooh. Yeah. We didn't like it neat. I think that it won't be doing it much justice because we both said no, it's not very good, Nate.
No, but I'm just doing. I want to look already the color difference. Just look at the bottles. Black Label's much darker already. So let's give it a roll.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, we can. Okay, well, we're gonna run out of glasses soon.
No.
No, we don't.
You got we already got the neat here.
Okay.
Get those glasses right there. We're gonna pour the black.
Okay. All right. Okay. So do.
And I've never had black neat. You know that?
Really?
No.
Oh my God.
I only drink it with soda when I go out. So this is actually gonna be a new experience for me.
I find there's a lot of in black when it's by itself. Okay.
Let's see.
Oh boy. This is the worst job ever. All right, so much fun.
So
okay,
I'm gonna do the Jane first.
Yeah,
let's do the Jane first. We still have it.
Here we go.
It's
Okay.
still on. It's still in the palate. So,
yeah, I'm gonna do the Jen first. Okay, so Jen
Here
neat.
goes Jane neat. Caramel, really hardcore on the caramel taste.
Okay, all right.
Now let's look at the color already. Look, I mean, the black is a little darker.
The black's definitely darker, and the legs. Yeah, I'd say the Jen had better legs than the black.
The black has none.
No, look at that.
Oh no, I got a little bit. I got
A little
bit there.
bit.
A little more actually.
Nah,
all right, so
I'd say
all right, you
Jane.
got it. You got the Jane in there.
Yeah.
You memorized.
I
All
got
right.
it. It's-
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Very similar. I like the black better.
Yeah, I like the black. Much like the black. Black's smokier.
Yes, it is.
Definitely
It is.
smokier.
Now, here's something else I didn't know, Rich. Really interesting. And I had no idea about this till I read about it today. So they blend all their scotches from single malts. I didn't know that Johnnie Walker actually owns all the single malt distilleries. They make all the single malts that they blend with to control. They didn't used to, but they started once they finalized their recipes. They actually bought out all those distilleries and make it themselves because they want to control the amount that gets sold to the public and what they
Right.
keep for themselves for their recipes.
Yeah, and it makes sense because if you're a distiller and you know that one of the main ingredients is Johnnie Walker, then you can put the price up to as much as you want, and they'll have to pay.
Yes,
So.
that's right. So they just bought them. And Cardew.
Is
Cardew is the main ingredient in most Johnnie Walker. It's
Probably
it's the body of Johnnie Walker.
probably pronouncing that wrong, but
Cardew?
C-A-R-D-H-U.
C-A-R-D-H-U.
It's some kind of Scottish Gaelic word, I would imagine.
Cardew. Holy. Okay, are you tasting haggis in there at all? I'm getting a little
Haggis. Oh,
little
God.
hint of haggis.
Have you ever had haggis?
No. You might. I bet you have.
I have had haggis.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And, honestly, it's not as bad as people think it is. I kind
It's
of
an
like.
ugly name,
Well,
but so are most scotches.
it's what offal in sheep's intestines.
I mean, it sounds absolutely delicious.
I know you'd eat it because you eat
I eat
that.
everything.
You eat that stuff when we go to Thai restaurants. You love all those.
I like tripe and menudo, the Mexican menudo soup. Oh my God, it's amazing. I mean, nothing goes with a nice scotch besides some cow and stomach.
Yeah. And
All right, so
all the bits.
I think we're both on the same page here. I like the Johnnie Walker a little more. It also has a little more oomph to it, a little harshness to it that I kind of like, and definitely smokier.
I feel like I'm getting more bang for the buck. I feel like I'm getting my money's worth with the black. Do you know what I mean?
I like the black.
Yeah, I like the black so much better.
No offense to the ladies out there or Emma. I'm sure she makes the black as well. It's not my first go-to. That's not something that I'm going to seek out.
Well, let's. Okay, so we said we didn't like it neat anyway. So let's try.
I'm good.
Black.
I drink black all the time. We're good. We're good.
You're good. So you just that's it. Black is.
I'm gonna enjoy Jane for the rest of the night, and then and then get into it. So I think let's try to get our guests in here. Yeah,
We should get our guests in
start
here, see what they think. Should we give this a quick like kind of
rating?
No, not a rating,
no,
but just kind of.
Here's the deal for the price point. It's $35 a bottle, same exact price as the black. So what do?
You go for the black.
You go for the black, which is something you really want to enjoy.
Yeah.
And that you know the devil right? Or while there's a limited edition something out, enjoy that while it's out. It's the same price, and then when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, I'd stick with the black. Honestly, I don't think I won't buy it again. I won't buy it again.
I wouldn't either.
It just does. It's not worth. It's not worth having to go through the night when I know I could be drinking something better.
And you and I have had many occasions.
Life is too short to drink crappy scotch.
It's not crappy.
Well, it's not crappy. Well,
But the scotch that you want to taste, the scotch you want to taste, that you enjoy, that you like.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
There's so many great scotches out there that honestly, I'm glad I've tried it, and I'm glad it's ticked it off the list.
When I go to Roscoe's, I get the Carol C special every time.
What does that mean?
Roscoe's chicken and waffle. Come on, that's the fried chicken thing.
How often do you guys?
All the time. I love it. The Carol C special.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been a couple of times.
That's how I rate my whiskey by my Roscoe's experience. Chicken waffles.
Do you put maple syrup on it? I mean,
No, but there's a maple syrup element to bourbon and scotch. I feel like. Okay. So let's move forward. Now we're on the topic of music. Let's get to our guests.
Let's get our guests.
Paul Gargano and Rika Connor, guys.
Yes.
Okay,
All right, here we go. We're in a little head.
So guys, very very lengthy fanfare, but there's music playing.
You can't hear that, but we got a fanfare.
Trumpets. We have trumpets introducing you.
Oh, nice.
So hey guys, welcome to Whiskidiots.
Hello.
Thank
You wore a
you.
very appropriate shirt, Paul. I like it. It's sticking with the theme.
I tried.
So you guys have been in the music business a long time.
Yeah.
Paul, management, publishing, worked. We'll get into the magazine work and all that stuff, and of course Rika with the booking.
Yes.
Yes, so we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But first and foremost, let's talk about our bottle of the day. We had the Jane Walker, and you guys have your awesome bottle of Jane Walker there, and I want you guys to try it, get into it. Rich and I are a few rounds. We're a few rounds in.
The whole 4 months of quarantine. This is the highlight because Rika does not drink brown booze.
And she's about to now.
I do tonight.
That's right.
All right. So you started
like
the
to
interview
say-
as
Can I just-
husband and wife. You might not end
Yeah,
the
that's right,
interview
yeah.
as husband and wife.
That's lovely. So
Can
crack
I
it
just say
open.
as I hold this in my hand, it's a very feminine and sleek bottle. I like that.
We talked about that earlier.
We did talk about that. All Johnny Walker
All
bottles are the
Johnny Walkers are the
same.
same. All Johnny Walker bottles are the same. Do you know why? So you could fit more of them in your liquor cabinet and buy more. They designed that back in the 1890s. They came up with that idea. Because we have a black label here for comparison. It's the exact same size bottle. So
okay.
try it neat. We've been drinking it neat on the rocks with soda and with Coke.
Yeah.
I got
here's
4
what we
glasses in
have.
front of me.
Here's what we have.
Yeah.
I poured us 2 neats.
Yep.
Not shots because we're dignified. We
Right.
have
Yep.
2 neats in shot glasses, and I also poured a rocks for myself.
That's what we
Ah,
got.
right.
We have the same going.
I,
So
to be honest, I
And
think
Rika-
Rika.
Does Rika want to go rocks, or she might want
Yeah,
to?
I think Rika might want to go rocks. A quick question. When was the first time you actually drank whiskey?
we know Rika's.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it a few times in my life.
I mean, you guys are in the music business, Jack and Cokes, right? Isn't that like the
Never-
starter,
Yeah,
the gateway?
I never really drank those, so you drink them sometimes.
Yeah, I drank whiskey in high school when I wasn't
Exactly.
supposed to be drinking. I mean, it was one of those because the things you got Budweiser or you
Right.
got Jack Daniels because that's what you bought, you know.
Try the neat, guys. Go for it. I'm gonna join you with the rocks.
Yes, I'm gonna try the neat. Cheers.
What do you think? What do you think? Not bad, right? Do you
I
drink
like it.
scotch? Do you drink scotch regularly? Or you just stick more with the bourbon and the American stuff?
I'm actually a fan of both. Depending, I do like scotch. I'll do Jack and Cokes if I'm like the Rainbow. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the Rainbow last Friday, I had like 4 Jack and Cokes to close the night out, doubles, and it makes sense.
To close the
I
It
night.
definitely closes the night out. It closes the whole weekend out. I'll tell you.
No, we had dinner. I had something else with dinner, but then like from 10:30, like from 11:30 to 2, I had like 4 double
Yeah, I
Jack
think you had
Cokes.
beer with dinner.
I had
and
beer
then-
with dinner.
There you go. So what's really important is we want to highlight that we're drinking. So the Jane Walker is blended by a woman at Johnny Walker, at Emma Walker. She's not related to the family, just coincidence. They have 12 master blenders there. 6 of them are women at Johnny
wow.
Walker.
Yeah.
So that's why they came up with this Jane Walker idea. And we were like, well, you know what? We're going to have a woman who works in the music business and has had to go through her own music business story that we want to hear. So we're kind of celebrating women tonight. Women whiskey
Celebrating women.
makers.
Great. Now I feel dumb about my shirt.
Yeah.
It is Whiskidiots.
We're the Whiskidiots,
Yes,
don't worry.
yes.
We
Yeah, so
got it covered. So we want to celebrate a little bit of that. We want to hear a lot of Rika, your journey through the music landscape,
Okay.
Well,
and Paul's as well.
so you've tried the shot.
Yeah,
Try it with the
try with the ice
Try
now.
with the ice now, because I think
Okay.
you're.
And then I want to hear your opinion, and we're going to share something with you that we discovered.
I will say the last Johnny Walker experience I had was the Game of Thrones, the White Walker Johnny
Right.
Walker.
We have a bottle
And
here.
I like this a lot more than that.
You do.
Oh, right.
So
Because Danny's a...
that
that's
is
funny.
black. It's actually just Black Label with a new label on it.
Yeah, it's Black Label repackaged.
What is?
The Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, it was. I did not know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, that's going to segue into our next bit of commentary because we decided to do a Pepsi Challenge taste between Black Label and the Jane Walker, and we preferred the Black Label.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
So Paul, I want a little small history. I want from Rika and from yourself. Just give me a brief
Yeah,
little bit what
and-
you guys do, and so people who are listening can kind of get an idea of what you guys do here.
Okay, so Rika, go ahead.
I started my career about 25 years ago. No, longer, 30 years ago. Back in Detroit in radio. I started in radio while I was still in college. And then I moved to LA after college. Did a couple of things here before I landed the job in the booking world, which, I've been doing for 20 years now. So
Cool.
I
mean-
never pictured myself being in that part of the business. I loved radio, and I worked at Interscope Records, and I loved working there so much. And I had no interest in being an agent or a booking or anything like that. But I sort of fell into it kind of by accident because I was in between jobs, and this company, the agency group, was opening a West Coast office, and they kind of heard of me through the record label or somewhere. And they called me, and I was like, oh, sure. And then I figured I'd leave and go maybe get another job at a record label or something. Still here.
There you go, still there.
Still there.
And
Right.
did you ever see that there'd be no concerts for a year? Did you ever see that one
Never
coming?
imagined.
Unbelievable,
Never-
right?
No, and over the last 10, 20 years that we've watched with streaming and everything, how like people don't sell records anymore and they have to tour to make money. And I was like, wow, I really chose the right path because these bands have to tour to make money.
Right.
So it's job security for me. Well, now,
And it's going to be the last. It's going to be the last thing to come back.
yeah,
It's a crowd. It's a crowd environment. I mean, period. And by the way, a little tidbit: my last show before quarantine was with Paul and Rika. We went to see Soul Asylum. Also,
yeah,
show
there you
one
go.
of Rika's.
You know what?
highlights that she
We
books.
went out with a bang for a while. That was a really
was a
good
good
show.
show.
Yes, it was. We did go out with a bang. I was
That's why we listen-
converted to a band that I always liked, but they were just there,
Yeah.
on the radio, and then I actually became a fan.
Rika was so sick of hearing that new record because it was all I played for the first month and a half.
Right, there you go. So it was a good way to go out. So all of our last show was March 11th, right? And then
Yep. Yep.
and that was it.
I think that was the...
At least it wasn't 311 on 311. Much better. That was.
So, Paul, just a brief history of you.
So I started as a journalist. I was a rock critic. My first music editor in my college newspaper, blah, blah, blah. I did a little bit of radio. I was the rock critic for the Milwaukee Journal for a short period. And then I started at Metal Edge. I was managing editor at Metal Edge for a couple of years. Then I took over, became executive editor at Metal Edge. While I was at Metal Edge, I started doing on-air stuff for VH1, hosted a bunch of shows, did a lot of stuff there. Metal Edge got sold to a new owner. He was not as nice as the Antichrist. Didn't work out at all.
Got it.
I ended up leaving. Did one of those soul searching. What am I going to do? Tried a job outside the music industry because I'm like, you know what? I had a good run. I'm going to go outside the music industry. Tried that. Hated it. Liked the people. It just wasn't the same. Wasn't as creative. And then landed at Century Media. So then I went record label. I spent about 4 years at Century Media, and I did a couple different jobs there. I was label manager for their prog rock label, Inside Out. Then I also did A&R for the main label. Then I became the head of their publicity department. And then the owner of Century Media wanted to start a management company. I had been managing on the side, managing bands since 2001. And he's like, if I start a management company with the president of Century Media, if we start a management company, will you come over and start it with us? And I said, of course. So I went over there, started that company with them, and I've been there ever since. That was about
There you go.
4 or 5 years ago.
Are you still doing the journalism stuff?
I full-time.
2014
Yeah.
you started
So
there,
2014 started with Street Smart. I've been there, and it's 6 years, and that's it. I'm a full-time manager.
Are you doing the journalism stuff still?
The journalism stuff I pretty much stopped around the time right after I left City Search, which was my job outside the music industry.
Now, is there a
Other
rumor
than
that I'm hearing? Sorry, I
work,
didn't mean to
I
interrupt.
wasn't
Is
doing journalism. When the quarantine started, I decided to reactivate my social media accounts, and to do that, I went back onto Instagram. I launched a Metal Edge because I'm one of the owners of Metal Edge now. So I launched a Metal Edge Instagram, which I haven't really even promoted yet, and we've got a couple hundred followers, but it's just been, 2 weeks of me just posting a different band every day and but editorializing, me talking about why I love this Winger song. I'm writing a book right now with Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction.
I thought you meant just now on our podcast.
No. At the current moment in time, like
with
being
Perry
on
Farrell.
the podcast is a break for me from transcribing Perry Farrell interviews. But like I have to have a book with Perry Farrell done by mid-June, and I've done more writing in the last 2 months than I literally have ever done in my life. Because even when I did Metal Edge, I would do it an intense week and a half, 2 weeks, and then I would take like a week of chill, and then I would do all business for a week. So out of a month, I would only really write for a week and a half, 2 weeks tops. So the past like 2 months have been intense writing for me.
A lot more writing, a lot less shaving. Yeah,
a lot less. This is about 2 inches longer about a week ago, and I couldn't deal with it anymore.
Yeah, it's good. It's a handsome beard. I think the quarantine has brought a lot of self-realization in people because you got a lot of time to yourself to think about things and what other things can you do besides the daily grind that you've been doing for 20 years. And also you're like, wait a minute, I have another talent or something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to cross into stuff that breaches my NDA I have a non-disclosure agreement with Perry, obviously.
Right.
I don't want to get into stuff that really breaches that, but I can tell you, he and I have spent a lot of time talking about how honestly, I think a lot of us are going to come out in a much better place on the other side of this quarantine. It's an ass kicking, and it's an ass kicking. It is a brutal ass kicking. However, it's also kind of forcing us to reassess who we are as people and what our goals are, and it's making us realize, we don't need to do some of the stuff we did before. And maybe I could escape by writing.
There's gonna be a lot of side hustles that are gonna turn into careers after this thing is over, right? A lot of people are discovering new things about themselves. I found out I can cook.
About other things, yeah.
If you ever told me I'd be writing this much in the year 2020, I'd have told you were nuts. But I mean, I'm doing it, and it's literally it has become my centering thing.
Your daily job, pretty much now.
And I'm still spending a full-time job managing bands. I mean, that's the crazy thing.
So we all know this. Record sales died in the 2000s. Probably Rich and I were talking about it today. Napster kind of had some hand in that. Record sales died, and from 2000 to 2010, we had nothing. We had a few pop stars, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, who kind of went big. But there wasn't the new music kind of came to a standstill. And also in 2010, when everybody realized the only way to make money was in touring, all of a sudden there was an influx of all these old bands who had disappeared for 20 years, and now they were back. And everybody was touring. You had, every single body, I can tell you from 2000 to 2010, I barely saw any shows. I saw maybe Radiohead came around, maybe Coldplay, U2 came around.
Travis.
And all of a sudden now.
All the Britpop bands, which I love.
Now you can see Britney Fox again. with one guy.
That's the way you see. But I've literally seen more 80s heavy metal bands in the last 10 years than I saw in the 80s.
Why has the nostalgia market blown
up? I'll tell you why. It's very simple.
And music's not good.
And it's a question. It's what the next nostalgia market is, and it's almost predictable and formulaic, but people don't want to acknowledge it because they think there's more to it. But at the end of the day, it has to do with your age and your demographic as you evolve. When you have kids, you can't go out at night, so you have these people. And Rika and my demographic is a perfect example. And you guys, we're all the same
age. Yeah.
We're all the same age. We grew up on 80s hair bands, you know what? Like 80s, early 90s. That was our shit. That was our thing. We loved it, right? Well, the four of us are the exceptions. Out of the four of us, we don't have a single kid. So we were able to keep going.
I have two.
Oh, you do? I forgot you had a kid. I forgot you did. Oh my God.
I have two.
He has two and twice as many.
And they hate my music, by the way.
And they hate you. I'm so sorry. But
and I'm like, guys, this is cool stuff. Dad, it was cool. I had long hair. Come on, guys. And they're like, no, you're pretty lame.
We're all basically industry. I mean, we're all industry people. So, I mean, when you also look at it, here's the other thing. What percentage of the American public has Sirius XM? And this is the next thing.
People who have disposable income.
People with disposable income.
And also, who can afford to see Billy Joel at his residency at Madison Square Garden every month?
Yeah, I mean,
his
I
generation.
don't think you can credit any one thing with making a genre sustain. I think what happens is just everything, it's sociological. I mean, it's just what we have going. Now, right now, and here's another thing, right now, and I can tell you this scientifically, what people are looking for now isn't new music that's innovative. What people in quarantine want is comfort.
Comfort.
People want to go
it's
back.
The comfort food.
I'm a perfect example. You know what? I rediscovered Warrant. I rediscovered.
Yes, Warrant has been described as the macaroni and cheese of music. You know.
Well, look, it's what I grew up on. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's
comfort food. It's comfort food for your
comfort
ears.
food, exactly.
Why are the biggest touring bands Metallica,
Cinderella,
Billy Joel, Elton John? The music holds. Is it that the newer music just isn't as good? How many Travis Scott songs can you name? That guy sells out arenas, by the way.
It hasn't had the time to become familiar to all of us, and that's the other problem we run into. You know,
right. I think there's another thing with kids don't, listen to music
the way we did.
They've got more things going on. They've got apps on their phones. They've got video games, Instagram. That social media thing that we never had. All we had was your magazine and your bands,
and a record player.
And I gotta say, I mean,
I also think that we used to get the record and listen to the whole record over and over and over again.
The attention span is gone.
You literally look right over there. We got 1,500 pieces of vinyl right over there.
Let's talk about the vinyl. Let's talk about the vinyl because vinyl's made a huge comeback. It's slightly different. They're not the original recordings. They're
and
new.
Joe also looks very good in vinyl.
I do. Not after quarantine. I'll get back in the gym and we'll make that work. But like vinyl's made obviously it's become very popular again. And something I was reading today was vinyl is selling more than anything else because nothing else is really selling besides streaming. Vinyl, as far as physical media, is selling huge again to the point where some old bands like Pink Floyd and stuff are back on the Billboard charts based on their vinyl sales. So just to prove again, but they're also putting out Taylor Swift vinyl. Yet the Pink Floyd stuff, the old stuff, is what's getting the attention again. People, even young kids, want to buy the old classics on vinyl.
Vinyl is a physical experience. You take the record out, you put it down, you drop the needle. You have 20 minutes of engagement. Then you have to turn it over and do the same thing all over again. It's not passive in the background. It's active. You're holding the cover. You're looking at that cover going,
you have to
wow.
Flip it over once it gets through. And
you gotta hold it. You gotta physically. And you can see the music. You can see the grooves in the record, which is amazing.
Means something on vinyl. You know what I mean? When you're looking at like Iron Maiden albums on digital on your phone, you're not even stopping to acknowledge the genius of the artwork.
The amazing artwork.
When you're holding vinyl, it's an active experience, and that's what I love about it. It's romantic. It's religious.
So, Rika, what is it like being a married couple in the music industry?
Let's get into Rika's story a little bit. You're around drunk, sweaty guys all the time.
Was it like being a married couple? Because
I have a thick skin. I'm gonna sit back.
For us, it works really well for us because we understand each other's work and the demands of the job and the complaints. We bounce complaints off each other all the time about artists or whoever. So the other person understands. If I was married to like somebody, I don't know, that worked at the
Walmart,
AT&T or something, like I don't know if he would understand.
Has the business changed, Rika? You're backstage at a show. I remember back in the days, Poison, Motley Crue. I mean, it was debaucherous craziness, and belittling women was part of. I mean, we remember reading in Metal Edge all the stories.
Did Paul destroy?
Like what my mother thinks happens backstage,
and what really happens.
What really happens backstage? There used to be a lot of fun.
You know what?
It used to be, right?
Hold on. I got to interject a one-liner, and then I'm going to shut up and sit back down. Yeah. Do you know why backstage became a lot more tame? Rika got married.
I want to talk about the future a bit because all these people are going to retire. They're not. I mean, Green Day has been around for 30 years. To me, they're the new guys still. Slipknot's been around for 20 years. Green Day's been around. Dave Matthews Band 30. These are all the newer bands to me. So once all these people start retiring, dying, divorces, whatever happens.
That's the question, Joe.
So where does it go? What happens now? There are some young bands. Where does it go?
I feel like a lot of the young bands give up maybe before they ever. anything ever happens. I don't know why.
Is it because of no label support? Like remember in the old days, the A&R guys used to go to shows and promise all these signings and we'll make you rock stars and all that stuff. That's kind of dead.
Back off if you want me to jump in for a quick second.
Yeah, I think that
he's dying. He's like Randy Savage. Tag me in, Hulk. I got this.
I'm like, if you need me to tag in, just let me know. I'm in the corner. I'm like the
he's shaking the ropes in the corner.
I'm like the 8-foot wrestler, the tag partner in the corner, going, "Let me in. I'll kick all their ass."
You're literally in quarantine.
You're in double quarantine. But I want to know because these huge selling. These huge selling acts are going to go away. Ozzy's gone. Ozzy's done.
Here's part of the problem. And again, I manage bands, and I can tell you this. This is a statement of fact. I will argue with anyone that tells me I'm wrong. Today's kids are entitled, all right? And it is a statement of fact. Cinderella, Poison. I'm going back to the 80s because that's what I grew up on. But
they got rejected a lot.
These bands played hundreds of shows before they got signed. Poison were so good, they could literally do their set backwards, drunk, and not miss a beat because they played hundreds of shows. These kids today write songs in their bedroom, and then they don't know how to play live. They're uncomfortable live. They're staring at their guitars trying to figure out.
Spans are like this, so they're like.
And when Octane won't play them, they quit. Right. Because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to go play in front of people.
But then you have like a Billie Eilish who comes out and does it. Bedroom, 17 years old, or Lorde.
Right.
Somebody does.
And they're actually pretty good. They have talent.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Billie Eilish had a lot of help.
But she's got talent.
Some young bands that I work with, and I'm like, wow, they are really busting their butt.
I'll throw a band out there right now. The Black Moods, who I've
heard of them.
They don't manage anymore. And
they're on our roster.
For somebody to talk about a band they don't manage anymore in a positive light tells you how much I love the band.
Right.
These guys, they work as hard as anybody out there. They get in their van. They don't even know what their beds. I don't even think they own beds. I've been to where they live.
Who's the band that sounds like Zeppelin? The kids.
Greta Van Fleet.
Okay.
Yes.
They've been the talk of the town. So let's talk about Greta Van Fleet. They've been the talk of the town for the last couple of years.
Well, should we talk about one of their bands?
No, I want to bring up Greta Van Fleet because that is one of the bands that's the future, right?
If we only talk about our band, it's going to be a short conversation.
It was very cool to watch that.
Have you seen them live?
Yeah.
I've never seen them live.
No, we have not seen them live.
And
you didn't see the show at the Troubadour?
No. We couldn't work with them, so I wouldn't have gone.
So, but here's the thing. They were branded as like the future of rock and roll. Finally, some kids are picking up guitars. And all that stuff. Did they shoot themselves in the foot by sounding too much like Zeppelin? And are people getting turned off by it, going, you know what, this is just a Zeppelin?
Here's the thing. Every couple of years, somebody else is the next future of rock and roll. When I was at Metal Edge, Buck Cherry, this little band nobody ever heard of called Buck Cherry was going to be the future of rock and roll. And every couple of years, you have a new Buck Cherry. You have a new band that's going to do that. And I could literally turn through the pages of Metal Edge and show you who the label said was going to be the next big one. And I could tell you the one that's getting groomed right now. Like, I don't want to say it like it's a negative, but I won't say their name because I don't want it to be a negative. But there's someone being groomed right now to be the next Buck Cherry. And at the end of the day...
Is it someone that's out there already that we know?
You don't know them yet. They're not out there. No,
they're being groomed.
To point them out would be pointless.
They're being groomed, right? There's somebody grooming them now.
But you know who I'm talking about. Yeah.
I want to say this is a great look into what's going on now, what's going on in the future, a little bit about what went on in the past. I think the future is the most important thing. We've been kind of harking on that in the last couple episodes of what we do. Is where's this all going from now? So I want to thank you guys for the insight on that.
And what's your final kind of rating of the wine?
Of the whiskey, the wine.
The wine. Oh God!
Here
we go. Your cheeks are rosy again.
We said we weren't going to get drunk tonight, but overall, would you drink it again? Would you buy it at a bar?
Well, if I chose to drink something like this again, I would ask for this kind because I'm enjoying it.
A little lighter.
Very good. And Paul.
And I like this. I like
just for the record, you can see how much of it's been drank, and that's
we're a little less than half.
Yeah.
It's got
it's good.
There's smoothness to it. It doesn't go down. A lot of like scotch and when you're drinking, it goes down. You get a real burn. This is smooth, and I like it.
It is, and I think this is purposely, obviously designed to bring a female element into whiskey and scotch drinking. I think that hasn't been there for a long time. So I'm glad, Rika, you tried it and actually give us an honest opinion that you like it, and maybe you might do it again.
Now this is a limited edition.
It is,
So
it is, and you'll never be able to get it again. So enjoy it while you've got it.
All right, well, great, guys. I really want to thank you guys for joining us. This was great, having a drink with us and talking with us a little bit about whiskey and what you guys do. It's also very important. It's also very important.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so thanks. Thank you, Paul and Rika. Thanks. That was amazing. Awesome. Thanks. So, Rich, we got a little insight there into what's going on in the music world from some deep insiders. I kind of rather enjoyed that.
It was great to have them on, and we introduced them to something new and exciting.
And I like that Rika, this is kind of her first Scotch experience, and she really enjoyed it. And again, I cannot stress enough that actually seeing before me history being made as women are entering the whiskey world. I mean, I'm seeing it happen.
You're seeing it happen.
I'm seeing it happen. We're seeing it happen right before us. They're not entering our world, but we're seeing them. We're seeing them enter the whiskey world, and having her try her first whiskey and stuff was terrific. It was fantastic for her to enjoy it.
It was great, and I really hope we can do more women in whiskey. And
final thoughts, Rich? What do you think? On the Jane Walker.
On the Jane Walker. Final thoughts. Unfortunately, it didn't measure up to the black label.
Do you think maybe it didn't hold up because it might be tailor-made to a feminine palate, perhaps?
I think it didn't.
Men and women like different things, you know?
I think it didn't hold up because it's a limited edition, and therefore there's no stress on them to sell it, and they could do kind of what they wanted and not really have to worry about selling it day in and day out. Whereas when you taste something like the black, you can see the quality in the black. They want to sell this constantly.
Yeah, I don't think they gave us the scraps. This is not the scraps.
No, I don't think they gave us
a different flavor, a different expression.
I don't think they gave us the scraps. But I also think that the because they don't have to sell it that much, they can be a bit more experimental. And I think they definitely tried something different. And
I enjoyed it, but it's not going to be a go-to for me. If it comes out again in a year or two from now, I'd probably pick it up maybe one more time.
I'll definitely try it again. Yeah. If they try and redo it,
I might send it to my mom for Mother's Day. Might be a nice Mother's Day gift. So anyway, let's wrap it up.
Okay. Well, one quick question.
Yeah.
Who is Jane Walker? Is she Johnny's wife? Is she Johnny's daughter?
Johnny was a real guy.
Is she?
Johnny was a real guy.
Is she Johnny's
Jane
mother?
Is not. We don't know. We'll never know. Perhaps the mysteries of life shall remain mysteries.
I think it's Johnny's mistress. So
well, no, her name's Walker. She's married to him or related. Anyway, on that note, thank you, Rich. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank Paul and Rika for also joining us. Really, some good insight. So don't forget, everybody, we're findable on social media. You can find us at Whiskey Idiots or our website at whiskidiots.com. We're labeled as Whiskey Idiots on YouTube. Just do a search for Whiskey Idiots and we'll pop up there. You can watch this awesome display happening live before you. Or please email us at whiskidiots@gmail.com. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Again, thank you, Richard. Thanks, Paul and Rika. We'll see you again soon, guys. Whiskey for Dummies by Dummies, Whiskey Idiots. We're not professional distillers. We're not whiskey experts, but we are
professional idiots.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.